Welcome to another episode of In the Swamp with the Glenwood Gators. I'm Victor Feliciano, alongside head coach Jason Gibson of the Glenwood Gators. Coach?
What's going on, Victor?
Doing all right.
Good,
Glad
man.
to see you.
Good.
For another episode, and Glenwood had played Friday night. Came on the short end of a 34-28 loss to Pike Liberal as they traveled down to Troy. They came back late Friday night, and once again, they had a time they just kind of put everything together. You'll see here they are all getting ready for another week, which will be a short week because they'll be playing Thursday night, and it'll be shown live on CTV Channel 7. But in the meantime, we want to talk about this game, and so 6 points, a lot of opportunities. And
yeah, it was actually a good week. It was a lot better than the conversation we had last week after the Morgan game. We just didn't show up. We walked out there in uniforms, but we didn't play. And all the turnovers and the mistakes. But going into Pike was by far the best team we've played all year. And we knew that going in. They had some offensive linemen that were, I think they averaged 290, maybe 300. They were big. And they had the fastest kid we've played to date. So I knew it would be a battle, and also playing there, and we were looking forward for the challenge. But we did good. I thought we did really good. Obviously, we self-destructed a little bit. And what I learned in that game, before we start recapping it all, was just the ability that our players have. We've got players that can play. We just got to continue to mold them into what we're looking for. And you got to figure, we're still only, 6 games into this season as far as what we're trying to do as a staff of building this program. And to beat 4-2 at this point, it's better than being 2-4. So I'll take it. But tough team, great coach down there. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and we could see them again.
That brings something to my mind before we do a recap, and then I'll end up forgetting, is watching your teams in the past. And I know everybody's hearing the comparison to the Lions, sure, but a coach has the same type of style throughout.
Correct.
On the Lions team, there's usually a play or a game that for your team, all of a sudden the light pops. Bright light comes on, and all of a sudden they're just full steam ahead at that point. They finally figured out, Coach we know what we've got.
I don't know if we've had that game yet, because we had the mentality that even when we were down in that game, we were down 20 points in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left to go in the game, and we've got the ball with 47 seconds with a chance to win. And they just believe now, because they believe, hey, we can win any game, regardless of the score, regardless of the time left, we are always in the game. Now, we've got that mentality down. But we don't have the mentality down from the second we walk on the field, hey, you can't win this game. Or not that you can't win this game, but with the Lions, like you said, you hit that breaking point in a game, or it's really a game, where you walk off the field and you can compete, and when you come and play your best game, nobody can be on the field with you. We're not at that point yet. We're still learning. So, we just haven't had that game yet.
And so I wasn't sure, because I wasn't at the game, but I was listening at MIXLR with Dusty Perdue. So as a fan, and you follow a team, you'll know when they see that moment, whether it's a comeback play or whether it's a turnover, and all of a sudden it energizes the team to finally just gel together. And so I just didn't know if that might have come even on a loss like that, but just coming back. So we're still looking for that. Hopefully it'll come this Thursday
tell you,
night.
When we got that ball back with 47 seconds left, I don't think there was a person there, myself included, that didn't think we were winning the game, just because of what had happened, the confidence level. But, a play here, a play there, we kind of ran out of gas and didn't work. But it was definitely something to be a part of.
And what Coach is referring to, if you weren't able to follow, was that they were behind by 6, were able to get one more chance to come back and take the lead, because they did miss an extra point. They were at 34. So
and I'm looking at the score. I'm looking at the score thinking, is this Lee Scott again? Is this going to be 35-34? And if we pull this one out, then
that would have been the bright light.
That would have been the bright light. But still, we just have a lot of mistakes throughout the game that we've got to overcome. Special teams are still hurting us. And, another special teams touchdown. First series of the game, we hold them, they hold us, we go to punt, and we snap the ball over the punter's head. And we give them 7 points. We have to eliminate those types of things. If we could just play offense and defense, punt, not punt, and play back and forth against teams, we're fine. But we keep, a big pass play or a blown coverage or a miscue on special teams, and we're trying to fix it all, and it's getting there.
And nothing to be ashamed of. As we were listening to it, as you mentioned, there was one point it was 28-7, and it was almost like turn out the lights, but not with your team. Your team, no. I'm telling you, with the Glenwood's team, you don't turn it off until it says 0-0-0. And so that's one thing that if you've been following Glenwood, you should know by now. Don't say, wait until the very end.
I mean, we're thinking maybe we should just play the whole game like we played the last 5 minutes.
Well, and that was one of the things I was going to ask. Going on a strategy of just going increments of 5 minutes at a time. Just how many can you score in 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm going to put you on the coaching staff. Oh. But you got
maybe just an advisory
moment. But you got a good point. You watch teams in the NFL and they do a 2-minute drill. And they go down and score. People are like, well, why don't you just do a 2-minute drill the whole game? And looking at the fourth quarter and what we do, you look at that, but football's football, and we can line up with 5 wide and we can throw it up and down the field. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to run the football. You have to. And if you can't run it and play solid defense, you're going to lose. And I know that. I recognize that. We're still building on that. And each week we fine-tune something that we're doing. We're figuring, okay, that works. And it's almost like we're throwing a lot of stuff at the dartboard or at the board, and that works, that works, that works. And we're molding it. And we're not there yet, so we don't finish product. And after the game, again, I made the same comment before. I don't need to be the September champion. I don't need to be the October champion. I need to be the November champion. And that's all that matters. So as long as we continue to build this team and build and mold what we're trying to get, that's the ultimate.
And you're still on that path to be November champions, because despite the loss again from last week, it's a non-region game. So you're still on track to be able to be region champions.
Yeah, it could set itself up. We got a big game this week. Obviously, we got against Edgewood. And then, our region game set itself up. So we're still in control of our own destiny. And I feel like we can play with anybody. We can play with anybody. Now, whether we show up like we did against Lee Scott, or we don't show up like we did against Morgan. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Which team's going to show up and play? But from a athletic standpoint, this conference is really good. And I think at any team at any point, if you don't show up to play, you'll lose. And that's a good thing. It's good for competition.
That's right. Well, I do want to mention, you talked about some things that y'all had improved on. Mm-hmm. Penalties. You went to single digits.
We did. That was good. I think we made a couple. I made a couple mistakes as far as the team, as how we treat the team. With professional football, you don't deal with this. They're pros. They get paid to do it. They know how to be on time. They know how to be dress code. They know how to do this. And you show up, you coach, and you go home. High school kids are still young, and and it took a little bit for me to kind of make that adjustment. I think this past week, we put an emphasis on penalties. When you put an emphasis on what's going to happen if you get penalties, I'll keep that private.
Oh, okay.
And we just kind of structured the things a little more. I kind of tightened the reins, to say, on a lot of things. And it showed on the field. I thought it really showed on the field, and we're going to tighten it a little bit more. And I'm going to squeeze them until, I think when you squeeze something, it applies pressure, and some people react to pressure and some don't. And that's the only way to build your team for the playoffs, because the playoffs are pressure. And that was a main focus. Was 2 things were main focus. Not getting a punt blocked, which we didn't. Punt team was great. Now, snapped the ball over the head, I didn't account for that.
Didn't get blocked.
Yeah, didn't get blocked. But no, the punt protection was really good. We had 2 punts blocked or 3 punts blocked in 2 games, and we worked on that all week. We had gotten gashed with the outside run against Morgan, against Tuscaloosa, just getting hit on the edges. And we worked on that all this week, and they didn't. Now they hurt us a little bit on the traps inside, running right up the middle, but you can only work on so much one week in practice, and we're identifying our deficiencies, and then we go out to the practice field and we attack those. How can we fix it? And if we continue to do that with everything, at some point it's all going to come together. It's just not there yet.
Being able to capitalize, you were able to capitalize on their turnovers, just
Finally.
Yes, and unfortunately they capitalized on the turnovers and then scoring touchdowns immediately after those turnovers. As you mentioned, there was a turnover right off the bat. You're already in the hole behind 6. And I guess that's another thing that we're seeing, that trying to get that jump early. We're always playing behind and playing catch up and find a way that we can just get ahead and then at least enjoy the lead for a while.
Yeah, the early first quarter mistakes. Morgan, we get a punt block for a touchdown, and then we drop passes, we throw a pick, and all that happened in the first quarter. And same thing happened at Pike. It's 7-0 with a minute into the game or something from a mistake, and we got to eliminate that and play. And what I'm learning is because we have depth and because we have numbers, we get to the fourth quarter and we outlast people. And then we just start, laying it on them. But I got to do that the whole game. That's a problem, So.
Well, the good steps. A couple of things that we want to bring out is Trip Day with 2 touchdowns, and you actually put him out there to do some punting as well.
Well, our best defensive player, Carson Allison's out. He's got a bad groin, so we sat him. Trip wanted to punt. Trip can boom it. So it's pretty bad when you snap the punt over a 6'7" guy. I didn't expect that to happen, but Tripp did a good job. Tripp made some big catches, and in the first half he had a bunch of drops now too. And that's the thing that we got to work on. We had drops here and there from a bunch of receivers, but then he came out in the second half, and he made 2 huge catches that just really put us back in the game. And he's that type of player. He's that explosive. You can't cover him one-on-one, and if you cover him with 2 people, I could name 5 other receivers on his team that you can't cover. I've got the best receivers in the conference. I don't think anybody would dispute that. So we got to try to figure out a way to make sure we're all.
Well, that's a trademark of your
that's what we do.
Styles anyway, being able to get those receivers and have a high-power offense. There's no doubt that you can put points on the board, and we're seeing that week in, week out.
Well, we keep getting into the red zone. We go between 20 and 20 all day long. Then we get inside the red zone, and we just kind of sputter out sometimes, and it's frustrating. We've left so many points on the board, especially against Morgan. I think we left 3 touchdowns on the board against Morgan, and we gotta increase that. I think we score 28 points a game. We should be winning football games. The problem is the defense is doing a great job holding it, but we're giving up a special teams touchdown, and we're giving them 2 interceptions, putting our defense in a bad predicament. If you look at teams just getting the ball, driving the field, scoring, they might get 2 touchdowns a game.
So your defense is doing what they're supposed to do. Then the special teams give up a touchdown or 2, and next thing you know, you look at the scores, and despite the closeness of the games, you're still giving up 30-plus points, and that's kind of hard to overcome.
Pike gets a muffed punt on the 1-yard line. It's not hard to score from there, so that's 7 points. And then they hit us we had a 3rd and 25, and they just threw a go route right past our guy for a touchdown, So it was another big play. I think they had 4 plays over 40 yards for touchdowns. They didn't have the whole, let me drive down the field. Now, it doesn't really matter, but what I'm getting at is we have to make teams drive the ball, call plays, run the ball, throw it, catch it, and keep moving and go all the way down the field like they're doing to me. And we can't give them one-play wonders. That's why I call them. So I got to eliminate those one-play wonders.
Cliche, making them earn it.
You got to earn it.
Instead of just giving it to them.
Yeah.
Still, it was an exciting game. Perhaps this week as they face Edgewood, which will be shown live here on Channel 7. I'll bring you the play-by-play action, and our crew will be ready to show you Thursday night action, a rare Thursday night action for Glenwood as they are taking their fall break starting the next day. So they've scheduled the home game for Thursday night against an Edgewood team that has really went about face. Last year they were undefeated. The coach had left, and a lot of their players left with the coach or went on to some other teams. And unfortunately, unfortunately for us, but they'll be coming in 0-7. They are averaging 7 points a game, and they didn't even go to Edgewood Academy. I guess that they were only fielding 25 players, so the deck is stacked against them, but as we all know, you've got to put it on the field. You got to play it on the field.
Yeah, I don't look at all that. I know their coach. He's a good coach. They got a bunch of young players, so it's a conference game for us. That's all that matters. I don't care if they're 7-0 or 0-7. I got to get our team ready. I got to get these players ready and fix our corrections, and then whoever shows up to play us, that's the mentality that I have. I don't look and say, okay, we're playing Edgewood this week. Let's do this, this, and this. We got to perfect. We're going to do what we do. and you stop it.
So the action will start at 8 p.m., pregame at 7:30, once again on Channel 7. Coach, you were talking about them earning it, or them earning the points because they're doing that to you. You kept the ball practically a half an hour. And as you mentioned, in the fourth quarter, it may have helped with them being worn out.
Well, one of the things we did is, they had some really big guys on the D-line, really big players. And so we had told our quarterback when he drops back to pass, I told him to get an extra 5-7 yards deep and make those guys have to chase you. And then when they get close, if it's not there, run around and just wear them out. And we did that. I think we ran 72 plays to their 39.
That's right.
And that's double, and that's a lot of football plays. And Brandon ran around a lot, and I think it wore them out. They just got tired of rushing, and that was the game plan for them, and it worked.
And unfortunately, the game was 60 minutes, so it was kind of, in essence, since time ran out, you guys were making that charge, and you don't want to say too little because you did the scoring as you needed, but the time ran out.
We pulled that one out. I tell you, Victor, we pulled that one out. As excited as I would have been, I would have felt really bad for that team because I couldn't imagine being on that side of the ball, up 34-14 in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left and losing. That would be devastating. But it didn't work out that way. We took it, and it's a good team. We'll see them again in the playoffs for sure. I already, them or Morgan again. We'll see one of the two.
Coming into that, the guys are looking. You may not be looking at it, but they're looking at it. And how are you going to keep the team from doing what they did in Morgan, where they're like, okay, well, we should have this one in the bag?
True. Just focus. Focus all week long. Maybe a little holler and yelling. Something I don't do a lot of.
Make for good TV.
So you're keeping them focused, keeping them disciplined, corralling their mind and keeping them on point and on task. And we're all creatures of habit, and anytime if somebody is kind of slack on you a little bit and lets off, everybody has a tendency to kind of not be pushed. And everybody needs to be pushed, and I will push them to the limit, and I will treat this game like it's the 7-0 Edgewood and go from there. And that usually works.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to broadcasting that with you at live. And Coach, is there anything else you want to cover? I think we pretty much touched everything that we needed to discuss.
No, just be at the game, and everybody wear orange, and let's get it, and have a good weekend. There's nothing like going on a 4-day weekend with a win.
And so this leads to one of our favorite segments of the show. It's called Behind the Whistle. And Coach, we actually put a little graphics to lead up to that. I got you coming in and able to get you some whistle action. We got you behind the mic this time as they practice on a Thursday. Usually we've been practicing earlier practice, and this one was right before game day. And so we got to see a little bit of the action there in the swamp as they get prepared for their trip to Pike Liberals. So enjoy this segment of Behind the Whistle.
Glenwood! Yeah. Here we go, pre-practice, let's go, let's go. Stop, 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 your knee's in the way. Back up a little bit. Look. There you go. Look, you're sitting there like this. You should be sitting there like this. And with the ball comes, you scoop it up, okay? So you're here, plus your knee serves as a thing. You shouldn't have your knee over the tee. You should be back, so when you catch it, you boom here, okay? Catch it, boom. You know how when they take those gloves, and the gloves are like that? That's how you always block. If you go like this, what's gonna happen? It's go right between them. So you pretend like you got the gloves on and run through. Let's go, Macho Libre.
There we go. Attaboy, Macho.
Special teams, and about ready to set a practice field record for a field goal. What we got here, Coach? 57 yards. Here we go, 57 yarders, 57 yards.
Oh, yeah!
Ah! You hit that with a 9 wedge. Go ahead and pull out the 7 iron. Pull out the 7 iron. Let's go. You come off the ball in case there's any kind of fire. Okay, you're hanging back, you're the safeguard, right? We're good? Make sure it's kicked, make sure it's kicked. We're coming from this side. You aim for that inside shoulder to hold him. All right, you're there, but you don't want to get hit in your stomach. When you run through some practice, if you get there too quick, if If you watch the guys, you don't have to lay all the way out and Superman. If you get through, you run right through the kick, hands out, and run right through it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
B, yeah, go ahead. B, young guys, let's go. Hey.
Live. Tune in, John Burnett.
Zoom to Lima, jet sweep right. Zoom to Lima, jet sweep right. Tailbacks. Good, huddle up. Go. Check, good. Deuce, 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 deuce.
Rip, slot, 25 bob, and go, ready.
25 Bob. Ready. Go. Go get through these 10 plays.
Lima, H slide, scat, 25 power slip, and go, ready.
Back up. We're running a slip play, right? Just pull back, come back. Go.
Let him get on it. Wait, wait, wait. Depth. Boy, that looks good, man. Yep.
Ready. Go.
Good.
Ready. Go.
Backing up. Make sure you don't do this in the game. Watch. Don't get here and just up and try to throw it real quick, because what's going to happen? You throw it off your back foot. If you see it, stop, stand up, but I want depth.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Deuce, 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 deuce. You got the comeback, Christian. What are you doing? Okay. Run over him.
Go. Wrap around and grab.
Ready.
Wrap around and grab and then tomahawk chop, all right?
Go, right stick.
Say hut. Good.
Nine.
You excited about punting?
Me and my dad have joked around many times in the past saying I should have just committed my life to punting.
Been like the next Ray Guy. You know who Ray Guy is?
No.
He was a 6'8" punter. He's the tallest punter in history of the NFL. Played for the Raiders.
Really?
Back in the day. He's one of the, I think he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think pretty much, Triv, if you commit to anything, you'll be there. Listen, I don't need to say all that, all right? We're just going to call it smash. Just learn it and know it, and then I can tag you.
Is it? Okay.
Just call smash. When I call smash, I'm running a smash. A smash concept in college is the corner route and a smash route, and you run the post. If I want to switch it, then you run the corner and you run the post.
So you ain't saying the numbers.
I ain't saying jack, but smash. Or take it. Perfect. Good. Good.
Go. There you go. Lock. Ready. Go. Go. There we go, Blake. There we go, Blake.
Glenwood! Here we go, pre-practice. Let's go, let's go.
We hope you enjoyed this segment of Behind the Whistle. And so, Coach, what do you usually try to accomplish on that Thursday leading up to the games?
Basically on Thursday, it's kind of a situational period. We try to rehash everything we've talked about. It's a big special teams day. And, we just go over situations like 30 seconds left, no timeouts, down by 2. What would we do? And, obviously it's paid off for us 2 weeks for those 2 come-behinds. Last play of the game, I try to draw up all the situational things that you would see in a game, and then we rehearse it like a play. And that way when those situations come up, you're prepared for it. It's not like you're drawing stuff up in the dirt. And so that's a typical Thursday. And I think the Thursday, one we just watched is the first time we had on shoulder pads. And I thought in the game against Pike, I thought we were more physical. I mean, they won the game, but our guys were hitting. I thought we were a more physical team, is considering the size disadvantage that we had compared to them. So I kind of like that. So the players will be in helmets and shoulder pads again, I guarantee it.
There you go. It worked out, and we'll look forward to. And so this time it'll be on Wednesday since there's.
Yeah, we're going to bump everything up. So.
Well, Coach, thank you for allowing us to be able to visit the swamp during your practice and be able to let the viewers see a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes. And so, Coach Jason Gibson, my name is Victor Feliciano. You've been watching In the Swamp with the Glenwood Gators. We'll see you Thursday night.